All right, take a look at this man. See if you recognize him. Police say he was spotted running on the Monon Trail and letting it all hang out on purpose. Cops say this man actually exposed himself in broad daylight to several women, including a teenager. It is very disturbing. Fox 59's Trevor Shirley broke this story earlier today on social media. He is joining us right now from the near North Side neighborhood where he was spotted. And Trevor, I have to imagine police really want to find out who this guy is.
Hey, Fanchon, good evening. Yeah, they absolutely want to ID this guy as soon as they can, especially given the fact that we're supposed to be seeing some nice weather this weekend and a lot of people are going to be out on the Monon Trail. They'd like to ID this guy as soon as possible so that he can't expose himself to anyone else. Caught in the act.
It is worrisome.
This Monon Trail jogger who IMPD says was giving others on the trail an unfortunate eyeful.
Sure doesn't lend to the ambiance of the neighborhood, does it?
According to Metro Police, the incident happened near the intersection of 49th Street and the Monon Trail. Authorities say the man knowingly ran past two women with his genitals fully exposed, then ran circles around them before he covered himself up and took off. They also say he ran past a 14 or 15-year-old girl out walking her dog.
I will say I always have a dog with me, sometimes two, so that would help me to feel more comfortable. I definitely would feel for a woman out here that would be jogging or walking alone.
Folks out enjoying the trail this afternoon were surprised to hear about what police say happened, especially on a stretch of the Monon they tell me stays pretty busy.
On my block personally, I don't feel threatened, but I would hate there to be children who would see something like that.
And while he is sporting some short shorts, police say based on witness accounts, they don't think this was any wardrobe malfunction.
And I mean, it isn't good for the area. I mean, we've got something like that happening in our neighborhood.
Judging by the pictures and those women who saw him, police say this man is likely in his 20s. He has some acne or acne scars on his face with some patchy facial hair. They also want you to take note of his lime green socks and yellow shirt, which reads Drumstick Dash.
Yeah, I have never seen him or recognized this face at all, but I would definitely, now that I have, I mean, I'm going to be more vigilant and keeping an eye out on things for sure.
And again, if you recognize this guy or you've got any information that could help police, you're asked to call IMPD. Don't forget, this is also a Crime Stoppers case, and as always with Crime Stoppers, you can remain anonymous. Reporting live tonight on the city's near North Side, I'm Trevor Shirley, Fox 59 News.
For indecent exposure. An unidentified man wearing a bright yellow shirt and green socks is wanted for questioning for flashing three females on the Monon Trail. That's where we find 24-hour News 8's Jessica Winters this evening with the latest on the investigation. Jessica, what can you tell us?
Carroll, the flashing incident happened here on the Monon Trail back in January. The victims didn't report it until now because they say they were too shocked to do so. But now that they have, the fear of the suspect is running rampant. Have you seen this man? That's the question police are asking. Trying to follow the trail of tips.
I'm just offended by it, right? This is a great trail. It's a sense of community. Look at the day today. Tons of people out here, kids, dogs, old, young, skateboarders, riders, walkers. They don't need that.
The man pictured here is wanted for indecent exposure. IMPD says the unidentified man flashed two females on the Monon Trail near 49th Street. He then continued running up a street off the trail and flashed a teenage girl walking her dog.
That's worrisome to hear.
I walk a long ways and a lot of dark when I come back. And yeah, I carry a 9mm just for that.
Though most trail goers I spoke with say they were disgusted by the news, they wouldn't stop them from coming to the Monon.
I've been coming here since I was like 10 years old. I've never had any problems. The Monon used to be like a little bit unsafe at night, but it's got so much better, and so I don't feel any worry.
I've never really felt unsafe.
Along the path, I ran into bicyclist David Green. Green says he saw the suspect running the Monon this morning and called 911 immediately.
Early this morning, riding down the Monon through Carmel, came over Carmel Drive, and running the other way was a person. Description.
He says the man fit the picture description down to the same green socks the victims say he was wearing the day he exposed himself.
You know, 6'2", blonde hair, bad complexion.
And you're confident it was him?
I'm pretty sure. I can't tell for sure. I said I'm not sure, but he certainly fit the description.
Green last saw the suspect running on the Monon Trail through Carroll around 8:30 this morning. He notified IMPD of his alleged location, but I just called IMPD about 2 hours ago, and they say the suspect still has not been found. Reporting live on the Monon Trail, Jessica Winters, 24-Hour News 8.
A month after police say this man exposed himself to women on the Monon Trail, there are now more reports of the same crime on the popular jogging path.
But this latest case of indecent exposure may have been committed by a different man. Eyewitness News reporter Jenny Runovich talked with one of the women who says he flashed her late last week.
Yeah, this appears to be two different guys exposing themselves to women here on the Monon. Police hope cell phone pictures get both men caught. The first incident happened January 9th near 49th Street. A jogger in a Drumstick Dash t-shirt showing much more than he should.
Yeah, that's really disturbing.
Police say he exposed himself to women and a teenage girl, even running circles around the females before he tucked himself away and ran off. But one woman took these photos on her cell phone for police.
Can't speak enough to how important that is. We don't want you to put yourself in harm's way, but if you have the ability to get your phone out and get the camera going and grab a picture, one or two photos, that could really help the investigation.
So you've seen the posters?
Yeah, on the Next Door Neighbor app. I've seen it.
Mandy, whose identity we're protecting, saw them too. Then on Friday, she and her sister became victims while walking the Monon near the Arts Center.
Hopped out of the car, dropped his pants and exposed himself and began to masturbate.
Same crime of indecent exposure, but apparently a different man. This guy has a beard and dark hair. Mandy's sister snapped a few pictures before he took off.
Because of the other guy that this happened with, and it was documented, and there was so much news surrounding it that it really encouraged us as an instinct to do the same thing.
Mandy says the maroon truck had a blue license plate with the numbers 1567. She says the flasher drove by them a half hour later and waved. She now wants both men who targeted women on the Monon off the streets.
And I think that if they are caught, it'll send a message to the next predator that could potentially do something like that.
We have pictures of both men on our Facebook page right now. If you recognize either one, call Crime Stoppers. That number is 262-TIPS. Back to you.
Some breaking news right now as Metro Police just announced that they've arrested two men who are accused of flashing people on the Monon Trail. 38-year-old Brandon Whitaker of Indianapolis there on the left of your screen and 18-year-old Paul McDonald on the right. Both are accused of exposing themselves to women on the trail earlier this month. And police say the incidents are unrelated. Both are facing public nudity charges. Whitaker is also facing public indecency charges.
It's now been more than half a year since Metro Police arrested this man caught on camera for exposing himself on the Monon Trail. And tonight, that same suspect is in trouble again, accused of doing the exact same thing in a different Indiana community. Here are the side-by-side mugshots taken just 7 months apart. Our David McAnally shows us the new location this alleged serial flasher is targeting now.
From the Monon Trail here to Bloomington, it's about 60 miles, but apparently that's not so far for a suspected serial flasher.
As I mentioned, in Bloomington, students check out some off-campus housing rentals on the same block that something happened last weekend.
I mean, it was pretty bizarre because, yeah, it was in the morning, and I mean, you hear about crazy things like that happening in Bloomington.
Police say this man, 38-year-old Brandon Whitaker, chased down a group of young women, then exposed himself to them.
He came up and then they obviously started to go away, run away, and then he chased after them. Honestly, I would have been terrified. And like I said earlier, I mean, you hear about scary things happening all the time, but yeah, to know a friend that happened to and just even things like that. It's definitely very uneasy.
The women were able to get a good description of this guy, and police caught him pretty quick. But get this, when police get the guy, they match up names, and it turns out he's no stranger to this crime. Here's the Brandon Whitaker arrested right after the Bloomington flashing incident. And here's the Brandon Whitaker arrested in February, charged with flashing on the Monon Trail in Indianapolis. And Monday, Bloomington police confirmed it's the same guy. Now free on bond, he's still awaiting trial in the Indy case.
I think it's definitely worrisome, especially being a female who goes to school here at IU.
In this town, she says, the campus and the community are blurred.
Not frustrating, but worrisome when you hear about criminals who come from the Chicago area or Indy or major metropolises come down here.
Being here, things do happen, so you always have to be alert and watchful.
I think it's definitely somebody who likes maybe adrenaline or having the captive audience of a crowd.
Intimidation, not so much like control, but
yeah,
they want the attention.
I think of flashing, I think of something that embarrasses the viewer almost. It's something that you don't want to talk about, that you've seen something that's really undesirable. It's a very controlling and also crowd-oriented crime.
The suspect has a court appearance later next month here in Indianapolis. It's unclear if the Bloomington arrest will affect his bail. Back to you.
The Carroll County Sheriff has taken to social media, too, warning people to stop posting side-by-side comparisons.